It's an awesome bag. Is that the surprise?
No, that's what's in the bag.
I'm so excited. I don't know.
What were you saying about pumps? So you posed a
Okay.
question that I think is important for this conversation.
Yeah. I don't think I'm embarrassed to share this on the show. 38 years old. Played a lot of basketball in my life. Had a lot of different basketballs, right? I mean, all these things are true. I have never owned an electric pump. And I was playing with some good players. I know you'll go play with like former high school players, college players, kind of a similar group, like really good players, right? Where it's me wishing I was in better shape, you know? And one of the players pulled out an electric pump. He's like, oh, hang on just a second. And he fired it up. And I was like, what is that? Because I can guarantee you I can't afford it.
So is it you plug it into an outlet?
Well, to charge it. But then it has its own internal battery. But you set what, I guess, PSI, right?
Yeah.
You set what PSI you want it to be. Basketballs generally are 8 PSI, and it has some preset, basketball, volleyball, soccer ball, football. But you can also, anyways, it's making it on the show.
Wow.
That's all I have to say. So I went and bought one. It was amazing, all the basketballs I was looking for at home just to fill up, because it was so fun and so precise. I would just tell anyone listening to the podcast, I don't think you need to spend a lot of money on one, but I think every household should have an electric pump.
We'll link to it in the description so they can purchase it.
Soon to sponsor our show or no?
Soon to sponsor our show. Do you know the brand of it?
Yeah, it's, but I better not say because I'll goof it up. But I'll bring it next time.
Okay.
And we'll link it, and it was cheap. And it's just amazing because I was just telling Erik that I never felt like with a manual pump. Are we getting into Deflategate here?
We should, yeah.
But with a manual pump, I never felt like I could. I felt like, some of the basketballs we're going to talk about here today, for whatever reason, when I dribble with them, I felt like they were still low.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, and we've done a lot of dribbling drills where you have two basketballs. And so it seems like one of them was always more inflated than the other.
Absolutely.
And so trying to time those was something big.
One thing kind of funny, sorry, not worth anybody's time, but it's, I was scared when it first started to inflate it, right? Because I thought this basketball is going to explode. Like, I have no way to stop it, and I don't even know if the PSI is right, beginner error, but it all turned out great. It was awesome. So just a huge fan of the electric pump. You don't need to spend a ton of money, and we'll link to it here in the show.
Well, I currently don't have a pump, so I'm going to have to go out and buy this.
Can I just come over and pump up your basketballs?
Yeah,
like, it would be
anytime.
an honor for me.
I have a lot. I'll show you after this. I have a lot of basketballs.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe it.
Here's what I want to get into, and I have purposefully done this. I'm going to have a ranking.
Yes.
We have 5 basketballs for you to rank.
Okay.
From best to worst, but you don't know which one's coming next.
Okay.
So if you place a basketball at number 2, and then another basketball comes up and you want to put that one at number 2, you can't because you've already placed a ball at number 2. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Yep.
So you're ranking it without knowing which ball is coming next.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Cover your eyes.
Okay.
You ready?
This is fully a blindfolded test.
Blindfolded. This is the first ball that we have. Yeah, I want you to see if you can tell what it is before you open your eyes.
Okay. I didn't see it, if you wondered.
I have been keeping this. I ordered this special online, and I told him that I wasn't going to tell him what it is.
Just out of curiosity, will I be told what the balls are prior to? Will
You'll be able to open your eyes, so you just get a feel for this. Do you know what this ball is?
Okay. Can you tell what I'm feeling? I'm trying to feel the width of the
grooves.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think it is?
Honestly, so firm. It's a firm basketball. I would tell you this feels like a TF1000. Not a lot of give on the leather exterior or synthetic. I don't know what the in thing is these days, but
okay, you can open your eyes.
No joke.
You nailed it.
Yeah, it's a firm basketball.
This is the class. This is almost brand new.
It's beautiful.
But this is what we grew up on.
When I played, we had a rolling bin of TF1000s.
Mm-hmm.
It was the best. It was the best basketball. And when you'd go to summer camp and you'd win, dribble tag, or you'd win a shooting contest or something, like some of the older balls that were ready to be retired, they'd give you those as prize. Matter of fact, I've seen a couple Jordan balls upstairs. So we're in the midst of a winter. But
my first official ball that my dad bought me was a TF1000, and I remember the smell of that ball. And we got it up in Logan at what used to be a Gart Sports.
I love Gart Sports.
And TF1000 is a legendary, the old version is a legendary ball. So where would you put that on your rankings? 1 to 5?
2.
2?
Yep, 2.
The
OG.
ZK Composite Classic TF1000.
This to me feels like
heaven.
It just feels like the game ball, right?
Yeah.
Like just that's how it feels to me, is the game ball.
And a little bit more broken in than this. This is brand new, but once these get broken in a little bit, I think that I have scored more points with this ball than,
I believe it.
than any other ball.
This is tough to beat.
It is.
It's absolutely tough.
So here's ball number 2.
Okay.
Set this over here.
Do we have 5 basketballs?
I have 5 basketballs.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay.
You're going to know this one immediately.
I don't think so. I think this is a newer TF1000. Can I open my eyes?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not as good. I'm just telling you. I don't think this ball, so this is the Legacy. I mean, I got to be honest, and no offense to Spalding, but this ball in my hands feels more like an outdoor
rubber
or a hybrid, let's call it, right? I mean, this is quality leather, or I think they call it a composite cover, but it just feels so good, you know? And this is definitely an indoor basketball, but certainly stickier, right? Or
this has to be, I think, one of the biggest sports equipment snafus in the history of sports, because Spalding dominated the basketball market. All of us growing up, the high school, this was the ball.
That was the ball.
The NBA ball was a Spalding basketball. And then they changed it to an even more rubbery feel than this one for some reason. And then everybody migrated away from the Spalding TF1000.
It just gave everyone an opportunity to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
Is that amazing, though, that I guessed that?
That's great.
I really wasn't sure.
So where are you going to put that on the list from 1 to 5, not knowing what's coming next?
Here's the problem. What if you pull out 2 rubber basketballs, like outdoor basketballs?
I'm going with legit basketballs.
Okay.
These aren't outdoor rubber balls that I'm going to...
Listen to my logic here. I want to put this at 3, but not knowing what there is, I think there has to be something better than this. So I'm going to say 4.
4.
Yeah. That's the TF1000 Legacy.
Ready for the next one?
Yep. Little softer cover. I'm going to say this is an evolution. Am I okay to open my eyes?
You can open your eyes.
So this is not. This is
the previous version of what was the official NCAA ball of the NCAA tournament.
This is interesting because
it's more broken in, obviously, than our 2 new balls over here.
What do you think that Legacy would feel like more broken in? This?
No.
Not as good.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, I don't know. Yeah, okay. Where would I rank this ball? Probably 3.
3?
That's a great basketball.
I think this is the Solution. Does it say Solution?
It is,
on
yeah.
there? The
Wilson Solution.
NCAA official game ball. This used to also be at least here, it was the high school game ball for a while, and it has since been replaced. All right, you ready for ball number 4?
Yes.
I love how true you are to the closing the eyes.
It's thinner channel, I think. This is something I don't know. The cover's a little bit firmer, but I don't mind this ball either. I feel like this is maybe a Wilson something or other. Am I okay to open?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the new Wilson Evo NXT. This is the current high school and NCAA tournament game ball.
I don't love this.
Okay.
And let me tell you why I don't love this.
Talk to me.
We're getting all your takes on this too, aren't we?
Yeah. Mine won't be blind, obviously, but
Why?
Yeah.
Oh, we're
I can
blind?
try and guess what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
but I already
blind.
know the order of what I'm going to put these in.
Okay. Then we probably don't need the blind. Yeah, and everyone's like, what is the delay? I don't love the color. I feel like
The way that you groped these balls, though, was pretty impressive. Like you took this seriously, and I appreciate that.
I gotta tell you, I'm same with golf. I'm like an equipment junkie. I mean baseball, same type of thing. I love it. I love the changes in it. I love the technology in it. And what's funny is you and I both agree that TF1000 is probably still our favorite basketball, right? Even though it didn't make
There's a
one on
hot
my
take.
list.
This is where we might fight each other after this.
I'm excited to hear. I think this is a good ball, but I know what the next one in that bag probably is.
Okay.
Which also hasn't taken. So this is what did I put
You have
this at?
1 and 5 left. The first spot and the fifth spot.
And no changes.
No changes.
No changes.
After you can rearrange.
This is interesting though, because I personally haven't played a lot with the Evo NXT. But I think it's a fine basketball, but I don't love the kind of outdoor presence or replica, maybe is a better word, that they're going for here. I like the dark leather. I mean, that to me says rich game ball, leather, smooth, right? I mean, all those things. So, okay.
Just going 5?
Oh, I guess I didn't answer the question. Yeah, I have to go 5.
Okay.
I have to go 5 because there's basketballs on this table that I liked better, which is, a challenge.
Okay, you ready? Close your eyes.
My eyes are closed.
Last one.
Okay, so a little softer cover immediately, a little smoother leather. I feel like this is a evolution.
Yeah.
Okay.
You nailed it.
So I own this basketball as well. Can we talk about this?
Yeah, sure.
Is that your logo?
Camera? That is the Man Games logo. Do an event called Man Games.
That's awesome.
Bring together a bunch of dudes. We play usually 8 different sports over the course of 2 days.
Oh,
and you
my.
get points based on how well you do in each sport. And then at the end, there's a Man Games champion.
It appears that you're a champion a couple times over.
There have been a few.
That's awesome. Okay.
So this one has to go into
Has to
your
go
number
number
one.
one.
But let's, I'm going to allow you to rearrange your list.
Okay.
What would you put at the number 1 spot knowing these basketballs?
Still the evolution.
Really?
This to me,
Okay.
although when I played, this basketball was not around. It wasn't a game ball. It's a little bit just after my time. I was a TF1000 guy. But to me, this was like there's something about the softness of the cover that I just thought was just awesome.
Yeah.
Like it still dribbles fine. It just kind of had a richness to it that I really liked. So I'm going to put the Evolution as my number 1.
Okay.
Then the TF1000 for sure,
The
the
OG
classic.
TF1000.
And honestly, might be my number 1. That's just such a great basketball. To anyone
I
debating
feel bad
what to
for the
buy.
high school kids that we are going to be interviewing because they will never know.
They
what
won't
this
even
feels like.
know.
They won't know what the purity of the ball that sits before us.
It sits here on the desk right now, and it demands respect. It absolutely commands your utmost respect. Okay, so I'm going to go Evolution 1, TF1000 2, and then I would probably say, even though I don't love the color, probably the Evo NXT 3,
Okay.
and then I would do, I can't believe how much hatred I have for the new TF1000. It's crazy. I had some other problems with that basketball, but then I would probably do the Wilson Solution and then round it out with the Legacy.
Okay. So you're just kind of bumping the Legacy down 1 and then the Evo NXT up to 3 and NCAA Retro.
I didn't have a
number
lot
4.
of options on where I could put the Evo NXT, but that's not a bad basketball. Maybe a little bit more rubbery cover than the older Evolution. So,
And these all broken in will feel differently. That's the trouble of like the NBA game ball as an example. If you've ever played with one of those, when you first get those, like it'll cut up your hands. But when those are broken in, they're just buttery.
they're buttery.
Yeah. But most people, amateurs, aren't playing with NBA balls. So I think these are the most common amateur basketballs that we would see if you're going to go to the rec center, if you're going to go somewhere, high school. These are kind of the balls you're playing with.
And nice basketballs. I mean, somebody pulls out one of these, and I think you understand you're in pretty good company.
Yeah. Yes. With the exception of one.
I swear, it better be this one over here. But
Okay,
all
I'm going to go through my list.
Let's hear it.
Did you want me to try and see if I could guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
I bet you can.
This is the Evo NXT.
You didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's leave them up here. Kind of a fun visual.
This is the Legacy TF1000.
Is it even going back on the desk or is it not?
You just want to just puncture it with a knife. It's your ball, so I would never do that to you.
Sorry to our friends at Spalding.
They really messed it up. Oh, this is my solution ball.
We're 3 for 3 here, folks, and on a roll. I got to tell you, I think those are the 3 hardest to guess too.
Yeah,
I really do.
Evolution.
Yes.
Sure. So that means the TF would come next.
I want to hear how these are being ranked.
At number 5, which, I mean, the gap between 4 and 5 is still massive in my mind, but is the Legacy. The TF1000 Legacy. So this guy.
Tell us what's wrong with that basketball from a pure shooter.
It's just what you said. It's a rubbery feel, and it feels like you're playing with an outdoor ball. And it got to the point where there are people who are raised playing on the courts, on the streets, on outdoor courts. Rucker Park. I mean, there's lots of famous outdoor courts. I've always hated playing outdoors because I'm a shooter, and that's my excuse. I shot a lot of threes, and if I go outside, now you have wind to deal with,
different
and all that
elements.
stuff. So maybe that makes me not a great shooter. But in gyms, that's where I liked when the elements are all under control, and I just never felt connected to that ball. And then bouncing it took a long time for it to get any sort of a soft feel.
Do we know the history of this ball? Was this ball developed after the Classic? And
Yeah.
I think that's what you were just saying.
Yeah.
They kind of went to this and they lost all their following.
Yeah, they switched over to a more rubberized feel. And from what I understand, I could be wrong, but what I remember them saying is something around moisture control, right? So if you did get sweaty or wet with this, you could get some pretty slick moments, and then you'd have to kind of wipe off the ball. And so I think the idea was, okay, this is going to be better for grip in
Those
wet,
environments.
sweat-ridden environments, but what turned into a rubber-feeling basketball.
Probably just a weird coincidence, but this is actually my second TF1000 Legacy. For whatever reason, I remember buying this basketball from Academy Sports, and there was some problem. We couldn't get it full enough to where it would actually dribble consistently. Enough so that when I took it back, they just handed me another basketball and said, I don't know what the problem is with it, but you're right.
Wow.
And so I don't know.
Quality control.
Probably quality control for sure. But it's interesting because I'll tell you this much right now, especially at my age, I don't feel like I need 2 indoor basketballs. I'm not playing enough basketball now to think, let's go buy 2 indoor basketballs just because. But this Evolution here is mine, and I bought it because I don't like this basketball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's interesting. I certainly don't need to purchase 2 indoor basketballs for sure, but I did because, in my humble opinion, the Evolution is so much superior. I'm sorry, Eric. Back to your list. 5 is the rubber.
The rubber TF1000. If you go into a gym, a rec center, and there are multiple balls that are out and potential to be played, I think this one's going to get kicked out first.
Should we also have a listener just write us and I'll just send them this basketball?
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Enjoy this number 5 on both our lists.
You'll love it.
You'll love it.
At number 4, I have the Wilson Evolution.
That's so mean.
Despise the Evolution.
It's too soft.
Only to be despised more by the Legacy TF1000. The Evolution, in my mind, it's soft. It feels like I've never been able to get a consistent dribble out of this. And maybe it's just the games I play, they either feel too bouncy or not bouncy enough. And when I shoot this, the Evolution has always felt heavy to me. It's felt like a heavier ball, to where when I release this and I let go and I shoot this, there are moments where I'm like, that is money. That is going dead center, and it bricks off the backboard. Or I'll shoot it and I'm like, that could airball it, and it goes in. And I just don't know where this is going off of my hand the same way that I do with some of the others coming up.
Sure looks good in your hand.
Well, that's just my hand modeling.
Do you know what I wish we had and I could have brought?
Little stand?
A little scale.
Ooh,
I
that
hadn't
would have
even
been great.
I hadn't even thought about the different. I mean, I guarantee you there's some variance here.
Right.
There's no doubt. Even as you picked them up, there's some serious variance. And
Well, and when I hold this versus this, it feels bigger. It feels wider in my hands than the TF1000 ZK. So that'll move. Evolution is number 4. Number 3, I have the Evo NXT, which is this
for
one.
a guy that hates the Evo so much, why do you have so many? Just donations?
Because it's the game.
They
It's
want
the
'em?
game ball of everything at this point.
Makes sense.
I'm not a big fan of the color. I think that it's super vibrant and it's just kind of hard on the eyes, kind of to your point. And that's what we've been raised with, is this darker leather, kind of the darker feel. This one feels poofy to me, is the best way that I could describe it compared to what I like.
Do you think it's tacky?
I think it is tacky. I think that a new Evo is less tacky than one of these. But this has the same problem that I have with the Evolution of when I release this ball, I don't know distance-wise where it's going. It'll feel great and it'll miss, or it'll feel bad and it'll go in. So throughout the game, I'm just going to try to go on feel, and I'm just not feeling connected to it.
You probably just more go for dunks.
Probably just
in those games.
Suck at basketball at this point. Is what it is.
Right.
Then I'm going to go with the TF1000 ZK. So one of our favorite balls is also number 2.
I'm already shocked. I didn't see that coming.
Well, I mentioned mainly because of the volume of time spent with this basketball, but I've scored probably more points with this ball than any others. And back in the day when this was really homed in on its break-in, when I let that ball go, the second it's off my fingers, I know where it's going. Whether it's right, left, which I think is easy for anybody, but depth-wise, I knew exactly where this thing was going.
Which you don't get with the Evos.
I don't get it with the others. And then my number 1 ball is this NCAA ball.
How long have you had that basketball?
I have had this one for probably 12 years. And this, more than any other ball, to what I was just talking about, was I know exactly where this is going, just immediately. And it's more tacky than this in terms of if I'm trying to palm the ball or I'm trying to really handle the ball with dribbling and everything else. I've just always felt the most connected to this ball. This is my favorite ball of all time.
That's a great
And
basketball.
they don't make them new anymore. So again, the only way we can get it is on eBay, which is where I got this one. There's my ranking.
Not
So we're gonna fight.
Yeah, we have to fight. I think we need to get a representative in here from Wilson immediately to talk about just the overall goodness of this basketball here. It's
this
beautiful.
one is a budget ball. So the Evolution is an actual. It's a quality budget ball, and it's about, I think, $10 to $15 to maybe $20 less than
the Evo.
The Evo. So the Evo, I think, is $100. I think this is 70 or 80, somewhere around there to get one brand new.
Just as a side note, our boys play basketball, and at this age, they're playing with a women's ball.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the appropriate term.
28 and a half, size 6, I think is what it is.
Yeah. It's interesting because I bought my son whatever the version of a TF1000 is.
Yeah.
In that, it's a terrible basketball. It's so hard. It is so hard.
It's very hard.
It's not really tacky. It's not really anything. It's just hard. So, just kind of bizarre is what it is. I mean, it's just like a totally different shell than anything on the table. I mean, certainly different than the OG TF1000. But
I mean, just looking from here, and I don't know if it's the angle, but this one looks bigger than this one.
We need to measure these.
We do. We'll put that in the show notes. We'll actually measure this off camera, and then we'll take pictures or something, and then we can add it.
Back when I played a lot of golf, there were different reasons why they would make golf balls different sizes, like more control off the driver, that type of thing, within certain rule limits. But we definitely need to measure these.
Yeah.
Because if these two are bigger than some of your, favorites, that absolutely is going to change it. Or if they weigh, significantly different than the other ones, that's going to change it too.
And I would think they've probably got some standards around this where it is going to be all within a certain, not standard deviation, but a certain limit. And I don't know. I've just always felt like these two were bigger and heavier coming off my hand.
It's interesting. I think there's more material on that ball myself. Some
squishy
level of padding or something, right? Yeah. In episode 3, we're going to bring in Tom Brady to talk about air pressure in these basketballs. But
Okay, so we are leaving this up for any questions that people have around these balls, or your thoughts if you agree or disagree with our lists. And we need to have a keyword for the end of this episode.
And anything, too, that we've left out. Let us know if there's a better basketball. If
there's the bad. I've never known how to pronounce it. Baden.
I also haven't known how to pronounce it.
So I say both just to cover it all.
I just say the one that Erik just said.
Yes. There's the FIBA ball.
Nike made a ball a couple years ago.
Nike's got
cool.
basketballs. Yeah. And certain colleges will use those. But the official NCAA tournament will now is defaults into that.
I think we have a good desk full here of top contenders, certainly. But yeah, let us know if we've left anything out. What's the word?
My turn for the secret keyword. I'm going to say microfiber, based off of our affectionate ZK microfiber composite.
I love that. And I was just looking to see if they all use the same terminology for that, whatever synthetic type cover.
This one doesn't. Moisture absorbing cover.
The old Evo does. It's an advanced microfiber, but no, they don't. So there you go.
All right. Was this surprise? Did this surprise you at all, or were you just like expecting this?
I'm taking that basketball home with me. That's all I know.
I used to sleep with this basketball, and I might now that I haven't.
As you should.
Yes.
As you should. That's a beautiful basketball. That is so pure. It just is.
Do you want to touch before you?
I just think it deserves to be higher than number 2 on your list. I feel like you're disrespecting.
This is number 2 on your list.
Isn't it funny? Just because I put the Evo so high, but that's just got a beautiful touch. But you're right; it's probably heavier.
Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Thanks, you guys.